Hello and welcome to Red Mist TV. Another massive weekend of Premier League football coming up, and it's been another massive week, particularly at Manchester United following the debacle that was Manchester United 0, Spurs 3 on Monday evening. We've got lots to go through here. We've got predicted lineups coming up for Burnley against Manchester United, predicted lineups for Leicester against Liverpool, which is tomorrow lunchtime, and we're reviewing the press conferences which took place today. And as normal, Jose Mourinho's press conference is a firework display and way more talking points than what Jurgen Klopp had to say at the Liverpool press conference today. That's because things are going so well for Liverpool, things are going just so badly for Manchester United. But there were a couple of actually interesting points from Klopp's press conference today, particularly on the goalkeeping situation, which we're going to come into. Guys, we're live on Facebook. Welcome to the show. If you're joining us live, we're going to be doing way more content on Facebook, so hopefully this is working out okay. We had one or two audio issues when we tried to go live earlier on in the week, and hopefully we've ironed them out. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure you check out the rest of our Facebook page, because there's a competition which ends this weekend, which is your chance to win a replica authentic grade Manchester United or Liverpool shirt, personalised with the name and number or whatever of your choosing. Baza, we've got to get straight into it. Jose Mourinho, again, another, world-class performance in a press conference today. The guy's just dynamite, no matter whether you like him or not. We're going to play out some of it here. What's your take on it?
I don't like him. I don't like how he handled that today. I used to have a lot of love for Jose when he came to the English game. He's a breath of fresh air. He had that air of confidence about him. Called himself the special one from the start. But what we're going to see, what we're going to play out, he's just like the Victor Meldrew of English football at the minute. He's just a cantankerous old so-and-so.
At times it's like we wanted Jose Mourinho to be the manager, but we've got his greyer, slightly older, grumpier brother.
And the reporters are there asking very legitimate questions. He's being as obtuse as he can be in his responses. I don't actually think he means what he says. He can't mean what he says. We played well in the last game. He was happy with how they played. All this type of language. And that, to me, just suggests that he's either trying to have people second guess him, because there's no way, Scott, that guy thinks that Manchester United played and carried out the tactics that he gave out in the changing room. And what he's saying is the players came out with credit against Spurs and they could beat 3-0.
Yeah, this is a massive sticking point, because I've spoken to so many friends over the week, and there's so many mixed reports about was there a tactical plan that was carried out? I find the analysis of the defeat to Spurs pretty bizarre, because Gary Neville at halftime on Monday Night Football said that he was impressed with what he saw, because he saw a high line, a high pressing tempo, and a pretty quick tempo at that. I get what he's saying, because what we saw against Brighton was such a meek, weak.
Yes, but that, Scott, is one element of a game.
Yeah.
They carried out that particular element of the game good, but beyond that, once they went one down, they lost Harry Kane on a corner. Kane being the danger man with a header. He scored, he got away from Phil Jones, and then it just capitulated from there. So what on earth are both Gary Neville and Joe? Are they watching a different game?
Well, I think Gary Neville then redressed the fact that the second half was a shambles.
Yeah.
And it really did turn into a shambles. And you saw the confidence, or lack thereof, that the players have with either the manager or what it is they're supposed to be doing out there. The first half, and you can go back and check our Facebook page, because I said at halftime at 0-0, it was a mess. I didn't understand where anyone was supposed to be playing. It took the commentary team a good 20 minutes to work out.
Where Ander Herrera was playing for a start?
I think it was Alan Smith and Martin Tyler on Sky. Nobody had a clue where they were playing. I read a blog post on Betfair, I think, by Dimitar Berbatov, one of our former players, afterwards, and he said it was a 3-3-3-1 formation. And the good thing, why we should be pleased with that, is that at least Jose's changed something. That's a pretty thin one, but it took experienced football pundits, experienced football fans about half an hour to work out what the hell we were supposed to be playing. Ander Herrera, it was leaked earlier in the press that Matic was going to be playing in the back three. They were half right because it was a back three, but it was Ander Herrera playing central defence. He's horror as far as I'm concerned, always has been.
But he's not a defender.
Yeah, and I don't know what the particular logic was to Ander Herrera playing.
Was Jose questioned on that?
No, because I don't think he was quizzed specifically on the tactics even post-match.
Because he didn't let the press really get into it, and
I
he
think
stormed
also
out,
the story was that it was 3-0 and it was more 3 defensive blunders, which I suppose every goal is a defensive blunder in a way, but it was just such a horror show in the second half. So he then stood there at the end of the match and he gave, to all intents and purposes, a wave to what I read as being a wave goodbye to the United fans and saying thanks very much. We now know, based on what he has said today, that it was a bit more of he interpreted it as a call to arms to the fans, and the fans' support back to him was support of the players, which is what he said. It was a key note of what he said today, was that the reaction by the fans was for the players, not for me. And today's press conference has been standard in terms of the last few press conferences, which is it's going quite well. And then a journalist who he either doesn't like, quite clearly doesn't like.
This is a guy from Sky, is it? That
he doesn't like.
Seems to have
he doesn't
problem
like.
With.
It's James Cooper, is the Sky Sports reporter. He definitely doesn't like him. And actually, I think he asks really good questions. And to me, he actually lined up a question today in the press conference that I thought Jose, it was an opportunity for Jose to take it, turn it into something positive. And he's saying, look, Jose, we've seen plenty of fighting talk from you and plenty of fighting spirit from the players. Is that what's needed right now? Jose took the words literally and said, there's no fighting, only football. And that is when, you know, right.
Here we go. This is the one that's turned up today.
We're going to get this.
Yeah.
One of the other reporters, I think it was one of the females that reporters.
She foreign journalist.
It could well have been international press. I don't know, because I don't recognise her voice. It was a superb question, by the way. And what she was trying to ask was a roundabout way of fronting into the fact that he's so bloody grumpy all the time, which is, do you love Manchester United, and do you love being the manager of Manchester United, or words to that effect? And she's obviously looking for him to come back and say, nah, it's just a job, so I'm being well paid, and that's about the height of it. He gave a pretty benign answer where he says, I'm manager of one of the greatest clubs in the world. So look, let's play out. There's a couple of key points in the press conference today. He completely ducked the fact that Anthony Martial is about to get a £150,000 new contract per week. He was asked about Shaw and Martial and their long-term futures. He virtually gave one note about Anthony Martial, which highlights the problem between the two, and then was very glowing about Shaw. I guess that the most positive thing about the press conference today from Jose Mourinho is that he's now starting to really defend the players. And vociferously defending them. He's saying, my players did this, they did that, they were great, they showed passion, they showed hunger. That's why the fans stayed, well, half of them, and thanked the players, because that's what they saw, that passion, and they saw that endeavour. So he is, whether he's doing it deliberately or whether he's been told to buck up his ideas, he is now really positive about the players, and that's a good thing. It's just the other stuff where a journalist that he doesn't like asks him something, and then it becomes the Jose show. Some great comments coming in, guys. Chris Smith, this is the week that we get rid of Jose Mourinho. Can't see us beating Burnley. Well, I suppose I got it wrong. I have to admit that I was wrong, because I thought he was going to go on Tuesday morning. And I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I wonder if the international break coming up gives the club a chance to reorganise things if they want to.
I don't see that happening now.
Well,
I don't see it happening.
I think a defeat against Burnley is just cataclysmic.
I don't think you'll get beaten by Burnley, and I think he's there certainly until Christmas. And as a Liverpool fan, I'm absolutely delighted with that. Long may Jose reign.
But I mean, if we play out some of the press conference here, this is one of the key points from it.
Hold that to find the truth.
Don't think there'll be any argument that you've
that you've been one of the great managers, but would you still be a great manager if you don't win the league here with all this?
Do you ask that question to the manager that finished third in the Premier League last season?
Let's go now.
To the manager that finished fourth? To the manager that finished fifth?
I'll answer your question. I've asked Jurgen Klopp if he needs to win a title to be a good manager. Yes, I have asked him that question.
Yeah, because he never win anything international, for example.
But he hasn't told me that he thinks he's one of the greatest managers. And
But that's his problem. I tell you what I think, I tell you what I feel. Jurgen tells you what he wants.
I'm just asking you a question.
And I answer you the question. I answer you the question. Yes, that's easy.
Jose, you've had great success in your career, as you've alluded to. And
I had last season, great success.
yeah, exactly, but you've also had adversity as well.
I had great success last season. That's what probably you don't want to admit. And you do what you want, I do what I want. I analyze my performance myself, and for me it's more important what I think than what you think. And I think, and I repeat, that 2 seasons ago we had a fantastic season by winning the Europa League. You know, this season and last season everybody thought Atletico Madrid amazing because they won the Europa League after being knocked out of the Champions League. We won the Europa League because that was our level. That was our level. We are the last team in England to win an European competition. And last season, I repeat, I won 8 titles. I won 8 titles. I am the only manager in the world that won Italy, Spain, and England. And by winning 8 titles, not small titles, not small countries, 8 proper titles, my second position last season is one of my greatest achievements in football. I think and I say, you disagree. You disagree. You have the right to disagree. No problem for me.
So that goes back to, now we didn't hear that going out, we were having audio input problems, but I know exactly what he was saying there. This was the point about him being, he referenced earlier that he thinks that he's the greatest manager, or one of the greatest managers in the world. And he, whether this is a sticking point with him, he keeps going back to the fact that
He's finished second last season.
yeah, and he thinks this was a great achievement. And despite the fact that he's won league titles in England, Spain, and Italy, he thinks that finishing second last season is one of the greatest achievements of his career. And despite the fact that the press and the media and everyone aren't buying it, he is sticking to that it's one of the greatest achievements of his career, which it's a very, very hard sell. But there's no doubt that I continue to say that he's done a good job at Man United because it is our best achievement in the Premiership since Ferguson. But for him to say it's one of his greatest ever achievements, like he took Inter Milan to a treble, like it's great. Rick, I'm enjoying that comment about let's pray for draw. I've actually reported that as spam comment. So
go on, Rick. Happy
as much
days.
as we are looking for subscribers and followers, I'm not going to take that. So there's one less.
No. Rick is a fervent fan of Liverpool, of course. Jose hailing himself as one of the greatest managers in the world.
So this question set him off as well because
But what a guy! Like it's like us turning up and us saying tonight, well, we are the best ever that's come in front of cameras. Come on, who likes people that do that? He's an absolute.
We're up there.
He's an absolute muppet.
Well, he was asked by the journalist, can he be considered still as one of the greatest managers in the world if he doesn't win the league at Manchester United?
He's saying basically he's already won it in England before.
And check my record books. He then quizzed back at them and said, do you ask this of the manager who finished 3rd last season, 4th last season, 5th last season?
So the manager's job is to ask the reporters questions at press conferences.
It's just smoke bomb. That's what's going on. And so obviously he wasn't happy with that. He likes to control the press conference, and that's why the opening few lines of it, where he's basically responding to any injuries and doing a team squad update and who's available and who's not. He likes that, and then as soon as he asks questions that basically challenge his position, he doesn't like it. Yeah. And you know, but there are positives in there. He is talking very positively about the players.
Yeah.
Very positively about the team and the fans, and you know, that's maybe he's starting to get it now that it's Manchester United. It's more than a football club.
Yeah.
If we can take the line from Barcelona.
And he's the manager of the club, so he's actually got to stand up for his players. He's got to represent the club in the best light that he can do.
Yes, and it is part of the job, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
And he should like it. I mean, he should, and that's what I think the reporter asked him earlier. You know, why do you love being the manager of Manchester United? And we do have amazing fans. I mean, you know, no matter what anyone says, I think we've got the best fans in world football.
No, definitely not.
Because if you
everyone
to lose 3-0 at Old Trafford, and for the fans that half them left.
Yeah.
Of course, now, he goes back to his comment about it takes 2 hours for him to get to the Lowry Hotel, right? You know, back from because he still lives in the city, which is a major gripe that people often.
I wouldn't like my
down.
manager to be temporarily housed in a hotel.
But he says, you know, we are amazing because I mean, where else would you lose 3-0 at home to a pretty big rival for top 4, even though we should be aiming to win the league?
Look,
and he's clapped off.
You do say that,
amazing.
but I also saw Vox Pops during the week of fans outside Old Trafford after the game that got beaten 3-0 asking for his head, so basically saying Jose out. So it's a kind of, there is a bit of a mix there, but
true,
I understand what you're...
But the fans will never, I think, okay, some of the boos came out at home to Sevilla last season, and all the managers definitely have their watershed moment. Where the managers have had watershed moments with losing the fans. So Louis van Gaal lost the fans away to Stoke in a 2-0 defeat. I think it was around Christmas time. He almost waved at the fans. He actually lasted longer than that, obviously, but he got all the way to the FA Cup final in the end of the season. But he waved at the fans because he thought he was going. David Moyes, it was the Everton match, another 2-0 defeat. Although I referenced last Monday's game against Spurs losing 3-0 at home. It's very like the feeling I got whenever I watched Manchester City like sweep us aside 3-0 at Old Trafford under Moyes. Yaya Toure got a good goal that night, and there was that just feeling of total deflation. We're going nowhere here, and we're tomorrow morning we'll be managerless. We're clueless. We seem so far away.
Yeah, but let's talk about that. So what actually happened after the game? Have the board now come out and given backing to Jose? Has he got a stay of execution for a little bit of time? How do you see it? Because before that game, you said to me, if they lose to Spurs,
I thought he was gone.
You thought he was gone?
And if they lost to Spurs, and particularly if it was a bad performance, and that to me was a pretty bad performance, and it was pretty weak in terms of the way we can see.
So what's happened? I mean, are the club not willing to shell out the termination of his contract fee? Are they going to give him a few more months to make a bit more of a mess of it? And I hope as a Liverpool fan that is the case. You've got no direction under Jose. None.
No, and strategically the club has no direction on the field.
Yeah.
And that is where maybe a director of football appointment is more important than replacing Jose Mourinho or keeping Jose Mourinho. If getting Edwin van der Sar in or whoever to be the director of football safeguards, well, first builds an on the field strategy and then safeguards it going forward, no matter who the head coach is, because they can come and go.
Yeah.
But if the club has an agreed philosophy of this is how we want the team to play, these are the profile of the players that we're looking for. Here's what we want coming out of the academy. Really, the head coach is an important part of the jigsaw, but he's only a piece of the jigsaw. At the minute,
it's only giving direction basically to players.
Well, at the minute, Jose's the director of football. He's the manager on the field. We're asking him to do what
acquisitions
did. And we asked Louis van Gaal to do the same, and it was a disaster. Like Louis van Gaal was worse for Man United than David Moyes was, because he has wrecked it. Massively wrecked it with hugely bad recruitment, a style of football that I still think, if I'm defending Jose, that the players are still trying to recover from. Like he took Martial, who has obviously had his problems with Jose Mourinho, but Anthony Martial came in as pretty much a striker, as a centre forward who had a bit of the Henry about him. He likes to play on the left, but a centre forward, young, exciting player. He got off to a flyer, scored against Liverpool, scored against Southampton, and if you remember that one. And then I think Louis van Gaal pretty much just destroyed him after that. It was so negative, the football. And to some extent, the club is still recovering from that. Jose has had a bit of time now, so you'd like to see us coming out of it. But the horrifying thing about the Spurs match was he just looked at a team and it was like, they don't have a clue what they're doing.
Well, it didn't, because the pattern of play that Jose set out, you know, who puts that formation out with Ander Herrera playing at the back, and he's never defended in his life? Rick, you're asking, is it a £14 million to get rid of Jose? I think it's around 12 million, isn't it?
And someone I do a bit of work with as well said to me, where do you rate 12 million of a payout versus the depreciation value of the players under Jose Mourinho, because they're just underperforming, and what does that do to their market? What does that do to their market value if this continues? I don't know, Rick. We're a massive story now. People, everyone, fans, not rival fans, they're just watching it, waiting to see what happens next.
I'm loving it, but I just hope you stick with Jose, to be honest.
Can't see him paying that. I don't know. Yeah, Rick saying can't see him paying the 12 million.
But in terms of United's turnover nowadays, it's not that much.
You say that, but if you look at the net profit of the football club,
they can suck it up.
You'd rather keep 12 million.
Yeah, they can suck it up.
What if it was any other club? So if it was Liverpool, if it was Chelsea, he'd be gone already. Yeah, right. He'd have been gone. Where Manchester United can afford some degree of patience is that off the field, it's just a powerhouse. They do turn over so much money, and they're in such a strong financial footing that if we dropped out of the Champions League again, it will feel like a disaster to the supporters, but actually to the financial men and the board, it is obviously a footballing disaster, but commercially it won't make a difference to Manchester United. It can't sustain. We can't do with 3, 4, 5 seasons out of the Champions League. But one season again dropping out of the Champions League is a footballing disaster, but it's not a commercial one, and that's what might.
But I just think every single manager that's come in since, and part of the reason that Manchester United probably don't want to shelve Jose is that this high turnover following Fergie. Fergie's shadow still casts across Old Trafford.
And what he achieved,
his length of tenure,
and the fact that he rotated players out of the club, right, at a time where you'd never question it. So, like I remember Ruud van Nistelrooy left in 2006, and I was really shocked about that. It's like, wow, like he's not even 30, and potentially the greatest striker that the club has ever seen in that position, that out and out position. And he's had a spat with Ronaldo, which was well documented, and he's gone. But I mean, if we had a 29-year-old striker that was doing that in our position right now, you would never, ever let players like that go. But Ferguson did this time, and
he was able to kind of bring new players in, mold them,
and he always had a plan.
Got something out of them.
The difficulty is now that he was the director of football, the coach, the manager, the academy manager. He overseed it all. I think he delegated it all very well. But he did control things like a director of football, and maybe the board is thinking, before we do anything rash, I'm going to sack Jose Mourinho because I've seen what I think is a shambles of a performance against Spurs. But what if a director of football was in place and he said to me, if I'm Ed Woodward, actually, yes, 3-0 looks bad, but don't sack him because we're actually making progress in these areas. The board, I think, have now accepted that they need a director of football to decide these things. To create a separation between the board and the head coach, someone who can report directly to them on these affairs, but they sit on the board. Because if Ed Woodward says, if I sack Jose Mourinho, where am I going to go next? Zidane? Okay, what if he doesn't work out? I mean, there's just no strategy, and I think they're going to, they are maybe thinking, let's do that first. And if the director of football comes in and says, Jose Mourinho's done, he's yesterday's man, okay, then we'll make a move. Yeah. But it is hard rationally to see Jose staying. I thought he was gone on Tuesday morning.
I can't see
if we lose on Sunday, 3 defeats out of 4 matches.
I can't see how he's going to last the season. Let's move on to talk then about
the team.
Yeah, the team. So and the predicted lineup for it's Sunday, isn't it?
Again, I just can't get a handle on this at all, and It'd be interesting to know what the guys
Yeah.
watching think. He played 3-3-3-1 or 3-5-2 or whatever it is.
Interesting formation.
But would you play 3 at the back against Burnley?
What? No, you've no need to.
So
You've
here's
no
what's
need to.
going for us against Burnley. What's going for us is that Burnley have struggled in Europe,
Yeah,
but they've been doing the whole Thursday, Sunday thing, which is killer.
yeah.
Now they're out of Europe. Interestingly, there was accusations levelled at Sean Dyche that he actually rested key players against Olympiacos for this Sunday's
For the
match.
United game.
So he's prioritised
The league.
the league
And
over
staying up
the Europa
probably,
League.
yeah.
Like, really, if that's the case,
Yeah.
Burnley's first chance at Europe in years, possibly the last time they'll ever get an opportunity, and he's taken that decision. So, although the Thursday, Sunday, the Europa League thing is generally a drain on teams, especially who are coming into the Europa League for the first time, it really does hurt them. You've seen so many teams struggle to cope with the demands. If he rested players, then it's a full-strength Burnley team, and they're refreshed by all intents and purposes. So, but on the proviso of going to Burnley, and we need a win and a good win, can you really see Jose playing 3 at the back again? I can't. So I think we'll go back to 4-2-3-1, and I think it'll be a mix of the players that always get a chance under Jose, and also the fact that Jones is injured is another one.
Yeah.
Lindelof had a shocker when he came on.
Yeah,
A
but
total
Baye
shocker.
also had a shocker though against Brighton.
So, but he's back in by default because he's not culpable for anything in the
Spurs
match.
game, right? Okay.
So Luke Shaw's
it's an
very much-
interesting way to pick your team. by
I
the
know,
way.
it's just like who doesn't make mistakes. Yeah, it's sort of like it's like a boxing scorecard. You just mark negatively.
Yeah.
So you would imagine Shaw's place is safe. Baye comes in. Smalling again was absolutely ripped apart for the third goal. I'm just going to say Lindelof goes out because he passed the ball back to Dele Alli, who should have scored, and it should have been even worse, the scoreline.
Yeah.
Valencia looks like he's back okay. Matic came back into the team and was so far off the pace, it was not even ordinary. But if he's back, Jose
think
said
he'll
last
stick with
season he starts.
Yeah.
He's pretty much says that Lukaku and Matic are his players. They start every game. Fred is in desperate need of a good game because
Yeah.
I think he's been horrendous.
Yeah.
But to me, it seems
He
bizarre.
looks lost in there. He goes in kind of
Yeah.
wee meandering runs, and then he goes missing in the game for
to me,
long.
Pereira's not really done anything to be dropped, but this is not. I suppose I have to say this is not what I would do if I was picking the team.
It's just what you
It's
think
what I think Jose's
Jose will
going to do.
yeah.
Sanchez came on against Spurs. Sanchez has been horrendous since he
Yeah.
joined Manchester United. He looked all right when he came on against Spurs. He put a couple of good crosses into the box. Looked a bit more of a threat. He still looks lost to me as a United player. I think he's going to play though against Burnley because he puts in the work rate that because you can be sure shooting that Burnley are going to give you like 90 minutes of a tough test. Pogba plays. Lingard should play, I think, as well, and I think Jose will pick him is because Lingard's one of those players who can pick a pass. If Burnley really tighten up, and he's a cute player where he can pick a pass.
I mean, this is the sort of game that the likes of Lingard, it's ideally positioned for him. This is the sort of game, he's got the pace, he's got the power, he can tear teams apart. Surely against teams like Burnley, you should be putting them to the sword. You have to be.
Yeah,
I know you're not in good form, but
And
this to me represents a way of retaining Jose if you want to retain him. I think it's a good out for him before the international break, and it takes the heat off him.
yeah, look, it's been a struggle to go to Burnley. We've had many times where we've been beaten and drawn the match because they always give a very good account of themselves, so it's never an easy 90 minutes. You don't actually see many teams going there and smashing them up.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
haven't done that in the last few years. I've been in the Premier League. Lukaku will play because it's Lukaku, I think. But what would I do? I suppose what I'm heartened by is the fact that Jose tried something different against Spurs, although it looked a bit chaotic. So maybe this is totally wrong, and we'll see Rashford come in. Like there's Rashford in the England squad.
Where will he play Rashford? At centre half?
Yeah, goalkeeper. Because even De Gea has lost a bit of form. But let's see Rashford get a game. Let's see Martial get a game.
Pereira?
Yeah.
He hasn't done much.
Look, we
wrong.
could play. You could play 4-4 with the players we have. We could play a very simple 4-4-2
yeah.
and actually get performance out of
Yeah.
the team. It would be simple. It would bring it back to basics, and you actually might get some of the players enjoying it.
Yeah.
I still think you would lose the odd game because it is quite an open, unprotected system. But I mean, this is so stodgy. And then the 3-3-3 one against Tottenham. Okay, it was good to see them have a go, particularly in the first half, to get them up the pitch. And Spurs did struggle at times to retain possession. The problem was that throughout the match, even though they struggled for a little bit of the match, Spurs, you always felt that they had a structure and they had a plan. And they fizzed the ball into Eriksen. As soon as he gets on the half turn, you've got Dele
Kane's
Alli,
gone.
Kane,
Yeah.
and Moura. Obviously, I think
yeah.
he exceeded everyone's expectations, even the managers. So, I've so far this season, I find it virtually impossible to pick the team.
You can't.
And, you
Unlike
just think,
me.
well, what's going to happen? Yeah, well, you guys are obviously having a totally different
Yeah.
setup. So, again, it's one of those, it's almost boring, Liverpool, because nothing
Yeah.
is happening. But what is happening with Klopp's press conference today, he looked in pretty good spirits.
It
again.
was another kind of Jurgen Klopp press conference of late. He's got those shiny veneers out, which I can't take my eyes off. His teeth aren't his, and I suppose I'm a bit jealous actually of that. But Jurgen was in fine fettle. Didn't really make too many remarks. He was asked by one of the members of the press there about the introduction of the throw-in coach, and this kind of broke about a week ago that we brought in this guy's the world record for the longest throw-in. So of course a lot of people jumped on that, but he just basically batted it away today and said, well look, he's a specialist in that field. I took a look at what he was doing. I'm no expert in throw-in, so as long as I see people that bring value to the team and to the squad, I'm going to keep adding them to my staff. So
it's good signs. I mean, if that's what he has to worry about, throw-ins, then everything else must be going pretty well.
Yeah,
on the pitch. I know it is. You're yet to concede a goal.
Yet to concede a goal.
Pretty-
Three wins out of three.
Yeah.
I mean, a good performance against West Ham. We hammered the Hammers 4-0. The game then against Crystal Palace, we kind of ground to the victory. We're 1-0 up, and then sucker punch at the end away.
Yeah, it's a good win.
And then the match against Brighton, again, 1-0. But everything's going pretty well, and that's why I've been able to, near on predict the team week on week. Do you want to bring that up first of all, the predicted lineup? I'm going this week with the one change, and I think Henderson has to come back at some stage, and Milner cannot keep producing the performances that he's doing. He's the old man of the squad, albeit he's only 32, I think. I mean, I certainly was startled when I heard that. But Henderson, being the club captain, I think the manager at some stage has to make a change, and that's where I see a viable change going into tomorrow's game against Leicester. Apart from that, I mean, how can you change the front three? Wijnaldum, he's been superb in midfield as well, and then you've got Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, who were told after the Crystal Palace game by the manager that he wanted them to get much more forward, and in the last game against Brighton, Trent hit the crossbar, he hit the post. Right. Robertson was up on the right-hand side of the 18-yard box, and he's a left-hand side, so they were marauding about everywhere. It was good to see, but they won't have that free rein in games going forward, particularly when we look at matches after the international break. We've got a run of really dangerous matches. We've got a make or break period. We play Tottenham on the 15th of September. We play PSG at home in the Champions League. We then play Southampton, Chelsea in the League Cup. Then it's Napoli away, and then Man City at home. I mean, that to me, when we get to that period into early October, which is really only a month away, it's only a month or 5 weeks away, I think we'll really know how Liverpool are lining up, whether they're going to make that challenge to Manchester City for the league this season. But interestingly today, Klopp, one of the points in the press conference that he did make, when he was asked about Simon Mignolet,
Yeah, he's not happy about this, is he?
No, I thought it was interesting.
Is this what you got lined up here?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right, well,
So he was asked basically about Mignolet not being happy about being number 2, and Mignolet doing all his talking through the media rather than going straight to him. So this is what Jurgen had to say.
Oh, yeah, no, I would say that's, how is that? In general, discussing your individual problems in public is actually doesn't make too much sense because it's better you speak to each other. That's always, I'm a big believer in that. But yeah, it was still okay. But of course, it's actually it's a one time, and we are all human beings, and I have no problem with that. And but if he would be happy to be a number 2, he would be completed. Then I wouldn't really know him. So he's a top professional, a top goalkeeper, and of course he's not happy to be number 2. But at the end, there are worse things in the world than being number 2. Pretty good paid, by the way, at Liverpool. So I don't. It's absolutely, in the first moment you understand decisions or not. It's always better than to talk to me about that directly than newspapers, because in this case Matt told me at one point, but usually I would not even get aware of it. So that means then it makes not too much sense. If you want to say me something, then say it directly. That helps.
Anything from you before we finish? No.
Oh.
So yeah, I think all in all, and again, I haven't heard that second time around, but what he was saying was, number one, he didn't expect his players to conduct their business through the press in open public, and I totally agree with that. The other point that he was saying was that Simon is disappointed that he's number 2, but if I had somebody here who was backup goalkeeper and they weren't disappointed to be sat on the bench, then they shouldn't be at the
Liverpool,
club,
yeah,
essentially. And I agree with that, but I also put myself in Mignolet's shoes as well. You know, one not that long ago, our first choice goalkeeper, and he actually had pretty advanced negotiations during the pre-season with Napoli, and there was another team, was it Fulham? And actually neither of those moves came off, but yet they were kind of nearing completion, both of those, and yet he allowed Karius then to go and join Besiktas on a loan. So I think Mignolet's he's been sold a pup a wee bit, you know, and I feel a bit aggrieved for him, because he's the sort of guy at his stage in his career, he needs to be playing football, he needs to be out on the pitch, and actually he's not getting the chance to do that, and he won't as long as Alisson continues in the form that he is showing.
Yeah, I think he's annoyed Klopp for commenting in the media, and as opposed to, as Klopp said, coming directly to him. I think Klopp's putting a positive spin on it. I would not be surprised if Mignolet is dropped even from the bench in favour of an academy goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Because that's what you get when
We've got Kelleher, the young lad who played in the US tour, actually.
Yeah. If you think all the work that Klopp's put into things, how well it's going so far at Liverpool, he does not need someone who he considers a second goalkeeper, basically wrecking undermining anything that he's doing. Jurgen Klopp puts a big smile, those big teeth on. But he's a serious guy in behind the scenes, and he won't accept anyone undermining the whole process that he's doing.
He was jovial, as you saw and you heard there, but at the same time there was a joke with a jag in there, and he basically said, look, I don't think he's doing too badly. He's at a club of our stature and he's getting bloody well paid.
Bloody well paid.
You know, so
could be a lot worse.
You know, so
as well, what other things that have happened? I've noticed Thomas Fagan from Eddie Irvine Sports has put it. What's Thomas said?
Yeah, Thomas is saying the best sign for Liverpool is that there have been 0 goals conceded, very early stages, but keep the clean sheets. And again, it's something that Jurgen hit on in today's press conference, and I think the press wanted to shine the spotlight. They wanted to shine the spotlight a bit more on Joe Gomez than actually Klopp allowed them to. Right. He wants to kind of keep Gomez under wraps as much as possible, because look, he's 21, he's in the England squad, he's just been recalled there into the fold. If Dejan Lovren had still been fit following the World Cup, Gomez wouldn't be playing at this minute in time. But Gomez has come in and he has been superb in the opening 3 games. He's been marshalled by Virgil van Dijk, who's just proven to be an absolute ridiculously good signing. So he is actually mentoring, in my opinion, an up-and-coming player who knows his game, who is technically gifted, but he doesn't have the experience and know-how that Van Dijk does. So I think it's going to be really difficult for Lovren once he gets fit again to get back in. I really do.
Because that goes to what you said with the predicted team here, because there's virtually no changes, and why would you change a team that's doing so well and has players to bring in if needed off the bench? I agree with you. You know, what might, you know, it's whether Henderson is up to it against Leicester. That's really what's going to change the fact that whether he starts or Milner does. That'll sway it. To me, because Leicester have sort of taken everyone by surprise. What I love about Leicester is that they take everyone by surprise every season, for good or for bad reasons. This season, I think they've totally taken people by surprise. Like this guy Maddison looks a serious.
He looks
player.
class. We both look, and Chilwell marauding down the left-hand side, totally cracking as well. One big thing in Liverpool's favour for tomorrow's game, Jimmy Vardy's out, so actually that sits well with me.
Got himself suspended.
Yeah,
missed the Vardy derby as well in midweek.
Yeah, so happy days for that. But Liverpool, 3 games, no goals conceded. I'm certainly happy. News coming out of the club this evening as well, and not so good on the business front, although some people may say, well, look, at least we got something. Lazar Markovic, who is yet to play under Jurgen Klopp, it hasn't worked out for him at Anfield.
He played in pre-season. Come on.
So basically, signed from, I think it was Benfica 4 years ago. He's made 19 first-team appearances, been out on loan, here, there and everywhere. He's signed and he's left Anfield as of this evening. We've got £2.9 million for Lazar Markovic. We signed him for £20 million. He's gone to Anderlecht. But look, you know, this is one of these signings that actually hasn't worked for Liverpool. They've kind of brought, £3 million in. They'll stick that in the bank and kind of move on from it, to be honest. So, you know, like, how can you get past the players that are in there vying for those positions? You know, if he came back,
he's miles off it.
No, he's just nowhere near the standard.
So the Champions League draw as well. Like, what do you think about your
Champions League draw? Right, PSG are going to be that's the big team in the group, and I think, you know, again, Klopp was asked today about mindset going into the Champions League, and he kind of responded by saying, well, do you think that just because we got to the final last year that gives us the edge on teams like PSG turning up in a brand new season with brand new players, you know, going forward? No, it means absolutely deadly squad that we got to the final last season. So PSG are a massive, you know, they'll be a huge challenge. The only positive for me about that is that we're playing them straight off first up at home. You know, and that's the game, I think, on the 18th of September. So at least we've got a home tie. We've been going well to date. If that continues, we'll go into that game with confidence. So the other teams in the group, Napoli, we turned them over in pre-season. But again, will the Napoli team be anywhere near
under Wilson Sarri?
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
And but I mean, on paper, it's a tough draw now. I mean, it is
and the other one, I think, was Red Star Belgrade, and you know, you'd expect to beat it. All in all, I'm happy with the draw actually that Liverpool got. Yes, Napoli up there, but I think Liverpool should be vying for the position at the top of the group along with Paris Saint-Germain.
For United, it's a big draw. You know, big names and big teams in it. Obviously, we get the chance to see Ronaldo back at Old Trafford again, which will be nice. Mm-hmm. But it's a tough draw. Juventus, Valencia, and Young Boys. Okay, they're obviously going to be the
whipping boys,
if you will. But Valencia will give us a pretty difficult test.
Yeah, and news about that game as well. I'm going to take that in actually over at Old Trafford.
You're actually at Old Trafford?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to wear my Liverpool top outside Old Trafford and to get a few interviews outside the ground.
It was nice doing this. It was nice doing this.
Well, I have to wear my, like armoured protection.
I'm not sure if I'd have publicised that, if I'm honest with you. Look, I suppose I'm really happy with the draw because I think the club, we need a lift.
Yeah.
So to get Juventus at Old Trafford, big team, big draw, and Juventus are obviously trending in the right direction in the last few years, and to get Ronaldo back, it's all positive stuff. You know, we could have got last season we got a plum draw in the group stage, but can you imagine getting a plum draw, right, and then at the minute with United struggling to get past teams that you should beat, like if it was like a Ghent, you know, a couple of a Belgium team, and maybe, you know, teams who are definitely the lower end of each pot. And if you struggled through that, it's going to do even more damage to morale it's just going to feed the whole negativity thing. But to get Juventus in at Old Trafford, it's a massive opportunity, because if we beat them, then it's a great lift for everyone. If we lose, I think expectations are a bit low at the minute after the start of the season. So I think it's a good. I'm actually really happy with the draw.
But what is the expectation for Manchester United? Do you expect to get out of that group?
Yes, that's the expectation.
As group winners?
And Man United. No, I think second's a reasonable expectation. It's so much now. It's now game to game. It's game. That Juventus at Old Trafford, and even the first game of the Champions League was 17th of September. Yeah, it's a few weeks. It seems so distant, because it's Burnley on Sunday, and do we still have a manager on the Monday? So these big things seem so far away. What's Chris Smith saying, Barry?
Yeah, he's saying that I'll be chucked out of Old Trafford within 5 minutes when United concede, and I jumped up to celebrate. Yeah, a strange thing. I've probably been to Old Trafford almost as much as I've been to Anfield. I always cheer the opposition as well, no matter where I'm sat. So I've had a few cheeky looks down the years. Don't expect anything different from you boys.
I think you're seeing the publicise that. So I'll be back at base, pretty nice and safe.
Yeah.
So look, it's been a busy week again. There's Champions League draws, obviously a huge story. League Cup as well.
I said to you last night, and I put it up on our social media. Whoever made the decision to have the League Cup draw, the Carabao Cup as they call it now, those energy drink, I think it is, some Thai energy drink. Whoever made that decision needs absolutely smacked across the head. The same day as the Champions League draw. Now, come on. So basically, away in the embers of the evening, about 8 o'clock, then they released, what was United against Derby County, Frank Lampard, and Liverpool play Chelsea, and it'll be a fringe Liverpool team, probably a fringe Chelsea team as well. And the League Cup, well, it just doesn't have any kind of. There's no attraction anymore to the League Cup.
What do you think Klopp will do? Do you think he'll rest players for it?
Yeah, I do.
You don't think he thinks
he'll play? He'll play. Mignolet will do nets. Klein will play right back. Moreno will play left back.
Right.
Matip and Lovren and everyone else in between.
Shaqiri
will get a run, and Fabinho might even get on the pitch for Liverpool.
Yeah. Well, you'd think you'd be concerned if he wasn't on the bench tomorrow, or certainly wasn't on the bench after the international break, because then it's like, right.
Yeah,
he must be way off.
You spend 40 million on
how could he be way off? I mean, he's a Champions League player with Monaco.
Yeah, and he's a Brazilian international.
So it'll be interesting to watch that. So guys, look, comment on the video below. Please like our page. Make sure you check out the competition to win a replica United or Liverpool shirt before it closes, which is going to be
probably tonight, isn't it?
It's tonight. Actually, it closes. So make sure you enter that before it's too late, because we're going to be drawing the winner on Monday. Let us know what you think. What do you think the result's going to be for Burnley against United? What do you think the result's going to be for Leicester against Liverpool tomorrow lunchtime? We're going to be back over the course of the weekend doing pre-match, half-time and post-match. So we really hope that you join us then. Have you anything else you'd like to say before we go into the weekend?
I'm really looking forward to the weekend, to be honest. I think Liverpool will win at Leicester, and it'll be 4 from 4. United, I can't see United losing this weekend. I really can't.
We said this against Brighton. We said this against Spurs.
Yeah, but for me, if I keep saying it and you keep losing, happy days.
So there's Chris Smith saying Burnley. He thinks Burnley 1, Man United 0. And do we still have a manager? That is the question on.
I hope you do.
Monday.
Keep him forever.
Right, guys. See you over the course of the weekend, and please have a great weekend.